What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the channel. It's a beautiful day. In this video, I'm going to be going over the settings as far as pitching and hitting if you're trying to improve your game. Some of the settings you might already use, some of the settings you might not use. It's going to be a little bit more than just the settings for hitting and pitching. I'm going to try to actually go into like a little bit of tips and tricks on how to actually use the PCI, how to actually improve your hitting even if you're already in the right setting. Alright, so yeah, let's get into it. Batting and base running. Obviously, the hitting difficulty doesn't matter right now. It's always zone hitting. I mean, if you're using directional hitting or pure analog hitting, I mean, I know some people probably do it, but that's really, really tough. So you need to use zone hitting. Plate coverage indicator on. Now, I use the wedge. I mean, I've seen other people use other stuff. The wedge has the dot right in the middle. So if you're not using the wedge, let me show you here. Alright, so when we're talking about the PCI, we're talking about the wedge. This is why I always use the wedge. It's the dot in the middle. It allows you to track the ball a lot easier. So you can see there, I mean, I'm just basically using the dot in the middle of the wedge as the barrel of the bat. So you have the wedge, you have dynamic, you have reticle, buckshot, classic, outline. So here's the reticle. I mean, a lot of people do use this, but you don't have the dot in the middle like you do with the wedge, which is what I absolutely love. This is buckshot, guys. I don't know why anybody would use this. This looks absolutely crazy to me. I don't actually know anybody that uses this, but yeah, this is not going to improve your hitting whatsoever. So here you see the classic. I mean, it's a lot like the reticle. It's got a shaded thing in the middle, but it doesn't have it doesn't have what the wedge has, which is the dot in the middle, which is the barrel of the bat. So for the hitting view, obviously, I use strike zone. My top three would be strike zone 2, or strike zone 3. It makes it so much easier to pick up the ball. So if you're playing on any of these with a back view of the Show 16, Catcher High, Fisheye 2, the Show 15. So if you're playing on any of these, Zoom, Retro, any of the offsets, the Show 15, any of the Fisheye 2s, I used to play like this. I know a lot of people still play like this. I can tell you for me personally, I watched a lot of videos. I tried to become a better hitter, and I realized all the good hitters, everybody was using one of the strike zones, strike zone 1, 2, or 3. So I will tell you, if you are changing over to strike zone, it takes adjustment. It takes practice. If you play a few games and your hitting is garbage, that happens to everybody when you switch over. Okay, so this is my setup right here. I use strike zone and I use wedge. It may not look the best. I mean, you can't see the batter and all that, but it allows you to definitely pick up the ball a lot quicker. So now I'm going to talk about how to actually use the PCI. This is something I haven't seen in a lot of other videos or tutorials. So basically, every single pitch, you're moving the PCI around. This is what I do. If you keep it still like this and you try to adjust, it's really hard. If you're moving the PCI around, so you're getting your thumb fluent right here, you're moving it around, you're ready, so as soon as the ball comes in, you're instantly going to track the ball. I mean, it definitely allows you to get on the balls a lot faster. So here's something new to 19 that I definitely didn't do, or I don't think a lot of other people did in 18. In 18, a lot of times you'd set up a little high, and you'd adjust. You'd set up high and you'd adjust down. I've noticed some top players, because of the way the fastballs and the off-speed are in this game, a lot more people are setting down low and then moving it up. So that's something to do. But you always want to you can't just sit in the middle. You always want to be fluid. You always want to be fluid, whether you're looking for a high fastball, instead of setting up right there, you're just going to bring it up to the high fastball. This is what I did at first when I changed over, because I said, okay, well, everybody that's good is using strike zones. I almost gave up on it. It was so much different from what I was used to. I almost gave up on it. I'm very glad I didn't give up on it. For me now to go back to one of the other views, that is hard for me. I can't do that anymore. I just can't pick up the ball the same way. So for the pitching interface, you have pulse, which I find very difficult to use. I do see some people using it. It's basically, I'll show you here. So it's basically, you're just trying to get it to a small, there you go, I got it good, so it was pretty straight, but it's very difficult for me to use. I know a lot of people, you probably use meter pitching. I used to use meter pitching. I've seen a few people this year that have actually made it to World Series with using the meter pitching. But I will tell you this, almost all the top players, the really good pitchers, the people that paint the corners, they are all using pure analog. There's different views you can use pure analog, but this is what I use. I'll show you what works for me. Using pure analog pitching is exactly like using strike zone if you're changing over. You have to practice with it. If you can make a mistake. If you make a mistake, you're going to get hammered just like all the other pitching meters. But I tell you what, if you practice with this works so much better. Now for the view, I used to play from the catcher's view, which a lot of people do, and it's probably smarter because when you play from the catcher's view, you get to actually see the runners in front of you. It's definitely more beneficial. I changed it over to play from actually this view, which has been working good for me, so I'm going to keep it like this for now, but I will show you the other view. If you want to set yourself up for the most success, the same zone that you use hitting is what you should use pitching. So I'm looking at it the same way from both now. So this is how I hit and this is how I pitch. My catcher, I can see the base runners. I know when people are stealing, taking leads, all that good stuff. So either way, if you're doing it from this side or from the pitcher's view, the pure analog allows you to really paint the corners. If you practice with it and you're good with it, I can promise you 9 times out of 10 when you're playing somebody really good online in a ranked match, this is what they're doing. So if you're not doing it, give it a try. Practice with it, and you'll definitely give up less runs. Once again, these are the settings that I use for the hitting. Zone, buttons, flick, on, PCI appearance, wedge, strike zone 1, strike zone 2. You can't really go wrong with any of those. And remember guys, if you're using the wedge and you're in the strike zone and you have all the settings properly, if you're sitting that PCI in the middle and it's just sitting there stagnant, it's hard to track the ball. Try to get a little fluidity going and then track the ball. It should help you. So if these settings and tips helped you, if there's something different than you're doing, hopefully you can lower that ERA and up that batting average. If you have any other suggestions or tips or anything else that's helped you for hitting and pitching, put them down in the comments below. If you're new to the channel, consider subscribing. We have a ton of content coming out. Tutorials, ranked seasons, pack openings. We got all kinds of stuff coming out. Well, click that subscribe button. Hit the little notification bell. Follow me on social media because you want to, because I'm cool. And as always, swing for the fences, and we will see you in the next video.